Hey everyone, welcome back. We've got an absolute banger episode lined up for you today. And honestly, XRP is having quite the moment. So check this out. Crypto's total market cap just hit $4.1 trillion. Yeah, you heard that right. We're looking at a solid 1.2% bump across the board, and crossing that $4 trillion mark, chef's kiss. I'm absolutely here for it. Bitcoin's flexing at $118,300 plus. Ethereum's holding strong above $4,500. And our buddy XRP is sitting pretty in third place at $3.12. We're up about 0.2% in the last 24 hours, though we're still down 2.1% for the week, but hey, that's crypto for you. Here's what's really interesting though. XRP's trading in this tight little range between $3.09 and $3.14 right now. We're hanging out at the top end of that range, but everything's getting squeezed tighter. To me, that screams we're just chilling and waiting. Waiting for what? Congress to get back to work and actually vote on that Clarity Act. Once that baby gets passed and signed, game changer. But that's not even the juiciest part of today's show. There's some serious drama brewing in the Ethereum Bitcoin world, and Microstrategy plus Joe Lubin's crew are right in the crosshairs. I might have teased this yesterday, but trust me, I'm not going to drag you through the whole thing again, just enough to paint the picture, and when you see what's really going down here, your mind is going to be blown. Let me set the stage for you real quick.
Guys, I've been staying silent on the matter, but I can no longer stay silent about this. We need to discuss what's going on with these crypto treasury companies. And in particular, there's one that I've already discussed, SharpLink Gaming. But there's one that I've been hesitant to bring up, and that's Microstrategy and Michael Saylor. I'm now convinced that Joe Lubin and Michael Saylor, as well as all of their followers and everybody else who's big fans of this entire crypto treasury company scheme, are co-conspirators in what may potentially be one of the biggest crimes ever. This is basically a massive Ponzi scheme as far as I can tell, and I'm no longer willing to sit idly by while this goes down. Joe Lubin's SharpLink Gaming is down something like 15% today alone. Ethereum's down 3%. What the hell is going on? Bitcoin just hit all-time highs, yet MicroStrategy is something like 20% off the top. Are they going to stop doing their at-the-market issuance ever? No. Michael Saylor did provide some clarity in his latest earnings call around the conditions under which they would continue to do that. But the reality is we continue to get diluted and shareholders are getting completely wrecked. In the case of SharpLink Gaming, if you bought as soon after it came out, you're down upwards of 50% or more right now. That's insane. Lawsuits are going to be written about, or going to occur. History will be written about this. As far as I'm concerned, Sam Bankman-Fried was a saint.
All right. You know what? We've been preaching this gospel on the channel for months, and now the chickens are finally coming home to roost. Picture this. You hand Michael Saylor your hard-earned cash to buy MicroStrategy stock, and what does he do? Takes that money and goes Bitcoin shopping like he's at Costco with a platinum card. Meanwhile, you're sitting there holding the bag wondering why your Bitcoin proxy stock is tanking. We called this out ages ago with that economist. Remember that video? Pure gold. And guess what's happening now? People are having that wait a minute moment. Like when you realize your friend's been using your Netflix password to binge watch shows while you're stuck with the ads, the jig is up. Dom from EZA just dropped a truth bomb that's got the Bitcoin fanboys clutching their pearls. This dude's no amateur either. He used to crunch numbers for Wall Street big shots. He's basically saying MicroStrategy might be toast. And here's the kicker. While Bitcoin's out there setting records and popping champagne, MicroStrategy's down 20%, looking like it got left at the party. Think about that for a hot second. You bought a ticket for the Bitcoin rocket ship, but somehow you're watching it blast off from the parking lot. That's not leverage, that's just painful. Dom's crystal ball is showing more bad news too. Once people figure out there are about 1 million better ways to get Bitcoin exposure now, hello ETFs, Coinbase, Robinhood, Saylor's gonna find his piggy bank running on empty real fast. And speaking of scams hiding in plain sight, Can we talk about these crypto gurus for a hot minute? They're out here with their hands out saying, invest in my fund, while simultaneously screaming that XRP is about to turn everyone into millionaires overnight. Hold up, Chief. If XRP is really going to moonshot to $5,000 next Tuesday, why am I giving you my money instead of just buying it myself and retiring to a beach somewhere? The math ain't mathin', people. These guys are basically wearing neon signs that say, I don't believe my own hype. But the drama doesn't stop there. Austin Campbell just threw a haymaker at Ethereum saying it's not ready for the big leagues. Oh, this is going to be spicy. Let me play this for you.
I don't think Ethereum is ready for prime time for real-world asset issuance. Like we just witnessed with the Bybit hack that the Ethereum validator set is currently at a place where they're not really willing to do things about significant exploits. And so I would ask the entire Ethereum community, let's assume a worst-case scenario happens and Tether or Circle's private keys get compromised, and a hacker is now in control of the smart contract on Ethereum for USDC or USDT, including all of their freeze and seize capabilities. What do you do? Right? Like, what are you doing with your hands? What is your game plan at that point? Because it's going to break everything on that chain. And until we have significantly more mature risk management tooling around like the Ethereum product, it is not ready for prime time.
So get this, I literally just saw something from Smoke Dog yesterday or the day before. The banking world dropped a report saying Ethereum totally fails ISO 20022 compliance standards. Like it's just not ready for the big leagues yet. But honestly, the XRP community saw this coming from a mile away. Here's what really gets me though. Wait until people start talking about how the CCP and China are backing the Ethereum network. Nobody wants to touch that conversation with a 10-foot pole, but we need to talk about it. Anyway, here's the exciting part. The biggest unlock of idle liquidity in crypto is about to hit platforms everywhere. Picture this. You're earning 4 to 7% on your XRP, getting returns that match or beat the bond market, and you're doing it all without triggering a taxable sale. That's exactly what we're looking at here. This is what's actually coming down the pipeline. And this next part, pure gold. Just listen to what it says.
Yes, the biggest question that people are probably thinking and listening and wondering is how much yield are we talking about here?
Yeah, so to double click on the non-custodian nature. So in the case of Centaura, or the platform that is called Smart Yields, is completely non-custodial. So every customer deploys via strategies that they fundamentally own, and they deploy from their custody platform, whatever that is. The interface for Firelight is the XRP risk-taking protocols is this vault that will be distributed via exchanges, wallets, directly at the protocol level, and any user could interact with that in a non-custodial fashion. As Hugo said, in some cases, some exchanges might take custody of the XRP and deploy directly, and because that's just a way that they interface with asset management or yield vehicles, but that's just the workflow that they have internally. It is nothing that it is not a constraint on the protocol itself. One of the in terms of the yields, right? Obviously, it changes with the market, but given the demand and the current momentum with the stable coins, or all our tests, and also a lot of the things that Flare is launching on DeFi show that we can be on the 4 to 6, 7% on yield on XRP, which for an asset that never seen a yield, that the cost of capital is fundamentally zero, is extremely attractive.
All right, so two big things we need to talk about here. First off, this is brand new territory, so we've got to be smart about it. Whenever something fresh drops, whether it's Flare or anybody else, you really want to watch your back. The thing is, that bridge, that DeFi connection that gets your assets over there, that's usually exactly where hackers strike. I'm not saying it's going to happen here, but let's be real, that's been the weak spot for most of these third-party DeFi platforms. We need to see this thing prove itself rock solid first. No holes, no backdoors, no way for the bad guys to sneak in. Second thing, VetXO made a killer point. He said, In this crazy market we're in right now, 4 to 7% just isn't worth moving his XRP to another platform because he can already make that much just riding the market waves. And you know what? Vet's absolutely right about that. But here's where I jump in with my take. Getting actual yield on my XRP, that's the holy grail, people. Think about it. Never having to sell your XRP, becoming like your own little bank, earning that steady yield while the world uses your coins. You literally never have to part with them. Why does that get me so excited? Couple of reasons. Number one, I haven't sold my XRP in that scenario, which means no taxable event for me. And that 4 to 7% return, it's solid gold as long as XRP holds steady at whatever price level we're talking about, whether that's $10 or $5,000. For me, it's all about trust. I need a platform that's rock solid. You know it's not going anywhere. Maybe they even have insurance backing your assets. Then you can earn that 4 to 7%, whether XRP hits $10, $50, $100, or whatever, and you're not getting crushed by all that volatility. Here's the thing. When I look ahead, I see this whole financial system getting tokenized on platforms like XRP Ledger and others. All that liquidity flowing into the network is eventually going to help smooth out these wild price swings. So I've got this strategy I've been sharing in the DPMG private group. We talk about taking some of our earnings and rolling them into US Treasury bonds, those 4-week rollovers that were sitting at about 4.3% last week. Do the math, throw $1 million at that, and you're pulling in $43,000. Pretty sweet low-risk return on those T-bills, right? That's exactly why I love this approach. I can stay aggressive in one part of my investments while having this steady, reliable income stream that's totally separate from all the market craziness I'm dealing with on the other side. Here's where it gets really interesting, though. If I can hit that same goal with my gains, watch XRP climb, and then find a bulletproof platform where I can park my XRP to earn that same 4%, or hey, maybe even beat the bond market without ever selling my XRP, man, that's something I'd jump on in a heartbeat. The best part? No taxable event because I never actually sold my XRP. I'm just putting it to work earning yield. So look, there's a ton we still need to figure out and dig into, but things are moving fast. This whole unlock of idle liquidity, basically every XRP holder and their stash, is hitting the market way sooner than any of us expected. And speaking of things happening, check out this gorgeous new Ripple ad lighting up Times Square. Look at that thing. Absolutely beautiful. It's really happening, people. Ripple's making moves and it's impossible to ignore. We're watching all the pieces fall into place, legislation getting signed into law, ETFs rolling out, bank licenses, Federal Reserve master accounts, and then boom, they're going to tokenize everything for everybody. Oh, and here's me being totally honest. I've got my fingers crossed that Ripple's quietly working on buying Uphold. Do I have any proof? Absolutely not. I just really, really want it to happen. But hey, let's throw it out into the universe and see what happens, right? Anyway, here's this clip from yesterday with Paul Barron and Sal Gilberti. Shout out to both these guys. They're killing it. So Sal Gilberti's dropping some serious predictions. He's saying Swift's going to collapse and all those Ripple NDAs are about to become major catalysts for XRP. And get this, maybe when Ripple officially becomes a bank, they'll announce they're done selling from that escrow. For anyone who's not totally clear on this, Smoke Dog lays it out perfectly here. You've got Ripple and Stellar as interoperable chains that are fully integrated with the Swift network through ISO 2022. Look at those payment systems. It's all right there in black and white. You can see the whole setup with Swift ISO 2022 standard interoperability. We actually showed this yesterday too. Ripple and Stellar sitting right in the middle of this entire framework that's going to be the new way we process, clear, and settle payments. That's the future we're looking at. And then Japan just dropped some huge news. They got the green light for a yen-pegged stablecoin for the first time, potentially rolling out this fall. Now, remind me again, who's got that massive relationship with Japan and SBI, the biggest bank over there? Oh, right. That would be Ripple. Yeah, exactly. And you want to know what I'm thinking? $10 says that stablecoin's going to live on the XRP ledger. Same as Singapore's, same as Brazil's, same as those two European ones. See the pattern here? They're building this massive web where the whole planet runs on one payment protocol. And guess where all that cash is going to flow? Once that happens, we're talking about creating trading markets that have literally never existed before, with XRP as the settlement layer for the first time ever. It's mind-blowing stuff. Check out this conversation between Paul Barron and All In Crypto. It's absolutely fire. He drops this line, "We don't know how big this monster is going to be." Dude couldn't be more spot on. This Ripple and XRP beast is absolutely gigantic. And here's the thing, once it clicks for you, there's no going back. You just got to cut through all the noise, all the FUD and garbage people throw around, and actually do your own homework. That's exactly what happened to Paul Barron. His mind is completely blown now. We've been screaming this from the rooftops forever. Massive respect to the GOAT Die for keeping us all dialed in. Turns out we knew what we were talking about this whole time. Man, Paul just nailed it perfectly. Huge props to both of these guys. Rupert from All In Crypto is crushing it, and Paul Barron's always on point as usual. And yeah, this totally backs up what Zach Rector's pointing out here. Some people completely miss this piece of the puzzle. Look, I think this all points to one major thing. The US absolutely has to have skin in the game when it comes to this new digital on-chain economy. And I'm convinced this is exactly how they're going to do it. They're working hand in hand with Ripple to lock down that banking charter and Federal Reserve master account. Then boom, Ripple becomes this end-to-end powerhouse, handling everything from tokenization and custody to clearing, settlement, DeFi, lending, the whole 9 yards. And if they snag Uphold, which I'm totally speculating on here, so don't come for me if I'm dead wrong. I'll totally own it if that doesn't happen. But personally, I'd love to see it go down. I've got zero inside info or anything, but it would just complete Ripple's entire ecosystem perfectly. Plus, they've been tight with Uphold for years anyway, so why not make it official, right? We'll see what happens, but check out this next clip real quick.
Biggest XRP catalyst that you think will happen? I mean, the banking license, one, sure, for Ripple. Obviously, we've already seen quite a few, but there's also involvement in potentially a SWIFT movement in terms of cross-border payments. What would be your catalyst that you think would move the market?
I think those are both catalysts. I think that it's hard to say. If they get approved as a bank and then announce they're not going to sell any more XRP onto the market because they want to capitalize the bank, I think that would be an enormous impetus for price. That's gigantic. But then I think as SWIFT breaks down and ISO 222, I think that they're not projecting SWIFT to use it for a few years yet to be totally compliant with that. Whereas I think that when Ripple flips all the switches and all these NDAs they talk about come alive, and when you start seeing banks announce, we did this much on the blockchain ledger in terms of moving your money, and we did this much on SWIFT, and the SWIFT is going down and blockchain's going up. I think that's a big deal. And there's another point to be made here for the economy as a whole. Most people don't understand that banks have to keep capital in both places. If you want to send money from Miami to Tokyo, okay, banks have to have money in Tokyo and money in Miami under the current system. That all goes away. All that capital is going to be freed up with the blockchain. That's going to burnish the bank's balance sheets even more. But more so, they're going to be able to loan money. They're going to be able to finance their trading desks. It's going to open up so much capital to economic growth in general around the globe. It's a wonderful thing. The blockchain is literally going to open up value because it's going to unlock a lot of frozen money on the bank's balance sheets. And that's really important. Nobody seems to be talking about that.
This thing is absolutely massive and totally within the realm of possibility. Of course, we've been talking about this theory that there's way more to that escrow than meets the eye. Like, it's not all just Ripple's XRP sitting there. We're talking potential allocations already carved out for central banks, governments, whole countries even, maybe Amazon, BlackRock. The possibilities are just insane. Think about what escrow actually means, right? It's literally holding funds on behalf of a third party. The more we inch toward all this stuff actually happening, the more fascinating this whole thing becomes. All right, now listen to this next bit about price targets over the next 12 months. This is going to be good.
You see people getting kind of backlash in regards to some of the outlandish or what seems outlandish price predictions that people throw around for XRP. The truth of the matter is, we don't know how big this monster is going to be.
That's exactly right.
If it achieves the goals that it set out to do, and there's every sign from the likes of the president just there that's going to be the case, people are way underestimating just the size of XRP because it's going to need that liquidity to enable all of this. it's an amazing time to be alive and in the crypto space.
We are talking about the leader of the free world.
Yep.
Okay. That goes on air and basically takes time to reference a financial system that is aging and immediately drafts his model into crypto. So you know that he's got, well, we know he has one ear right now being controlled by David Sachs. And then you think that there's another ear that maybe is out in the open right now that has been very connected to not only the government here in the United States, but also been connected to the payment architecture that has been building for almost 3 decades, okay? And we're talking about, and you guys probably know, the PayPal Mafia. Now, David Sachs, we all know who he is, the crypto and AI czar, also one of the original PayPal founders. He, along with Elon Musk, another guy by the name of Peter Thiel, all of those guys are in very unique positions. And isn't it interesting that all 3 of those guys are confidants to the president of the United States?
It's extremely interesting.
Does the vector not really, it's kind of out in the open right now. Does the vector not point to something here?
Yeah, this is absolutely fascinating stuff. So Greg Crypto just dropped this chart showing the total crypto market cap hitting $13 trillion. That's his target. Check this out. We're sitting at $4 trillion right now, and he's projecting we could see $13 trillion total market cap. And get this, he's thinking this could happen by December of this year. So here's the $1 million question. Where's that extra $9 trillion going to land? If we're adding $9 trillion on top of our current $4 trillion, how much of that massive influx finds its way into XRP? Obviously not financial advice for me or anybody else, but man, the math on that is pretty wild to think about. All right, folks, I'll catch you all on the next one.